Hey there guys, time for another vlog. Now, I had an incident that happened to me the day of recording this anyway. I'm not releasing it the same day. I'll explain how I have to upload things later, I guess. But I did come up with a very specific topic that I think may be interesting to some people because you don't necessarily hear a lot about it. I have a medical condition known as epilepsy. Now, for those that didn't know this, or don't know what epilepsy is, I'll explain. Pretty much what it means is that I have to be on medication, in this case antidepressants. Strange how those have to be involved. But anyway, there's neurons in my brain that don't exactly fire the right way, and as a result, you know the people that will fall to the ground twitching and having seizures and everything? That's epilepsy. Now, I count my blessings because in my case, at least, I can take a medication and it will stop me from having the seizures. Thank God for that. Some cases are so bad that not even medication can help and people constantly have them, and it's got to be torture because my experience of a seizure has always been this, because I've only had two in my entire lifetime. Back in my high school days is when I had them, because that was around the age when it first started showing up. But both of them were the same way, in which I was in the middle of doing something, and then all of a sudden, I was on the floor with paramedics and family members over me, and that's it. A complete gap in time. It's as if I felt nothing. And there's just this scary feeling the first time that it happens, where you fall back, and so, where you wake up from it and you're like, why am I on the ground all of a sudden? It's this weird disconnect that does not set right with a person once you're used to, living normally, obviously. But like I said, I'm on medication. However, I did have an interesting incident because even though I'm on medication, if I were to have, this is the difficult part, if I were to have had a seizure in the first place, then I still get the results of it even though I haven't had it. So I don't get the misfirings, I don't get any of that stuff that makes me twitch on the floor, but I still get tired. In fact, underneath my eyes, I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but there's little black spots. I'm close to the camera again. Ha! But there's little black lines under there, and those are always sheer signs to me that I've had what I jokingly call a fit. In other words, where I would have had a seizure, but because of my medication, I haven't had one, and frankly, I still get the problems that result afterwards without the significant damage that would come from it. So, things like brain disconnects, where my brain's a bit foggy, or being extraordinarily tired afterwards. All of that stuff actually connects to the situation, regardless of whether I've had a seizure or not. So every now and then I do have those. I had a moment like that at work today, and it was mildly frightening. So, I work in a factory, for anyone that doesn't know, and with that job, it's a sewing factory, and my job there, at the time of recording, is to take these straps that have these little connections in them, put little buckles, string them through, and then put them through a part loop area, and tighten it up to where they stay looped on it. And then there's a little snap, one of those little button snaps, the ones that connect to the two pieces and click together like that. Doing this all day is sort of a repetitive motion, so to save myself, because heck, I work on computers in my spare time, so I have to watch myself with repetitive motion anyway. But especially with that job, I get a lot of repetitive motion problems. So I have these little gloves that I wear that you can get at like the drugstore, and a lot of people know what I'm talking about, I think. I should have brought one of them out here for me with this actually. But I have one on each hand, that way it allows me to do my job with my fingers without me having like carpal tunnel problems or stuff like that from the repetitive motion, because if I don't wear those gloves, it happens pretty quickly. In my case, I'm prone to it, some people aren't. But in my case, I have to wear the gloves or pain, But during breaks, I take them off because these things do squeeze around your wrist, and it's nice to get a break from them after you've been working. So during breaks, I do take them off. I came back to my work area after a break, and sat down. I normally put both gloves on. I distinctly remember putting both gloves on, and then got to work. Then suddenly, this hand started hurting. I was like, what? Why is this hand hurt? There's no glove on here. I distinctly remember putting that glove on there, and now it's not. And I thought, well, maybe it got connected, because these are Velcro is how they connect on, so maybe it got attached. Somehow, by some way, the Velcro on the actual piece itself took my glove away with it. So I went up there, checked. Someone noticed I was acting a bit weird, and they were like, what's up? I said, I don't have this glove on anymore. I had it on. I put it on after break. I know I did. And then they said, well, did you check your pocket? And I checked my pocket, and for some reason I wasn't able to find it. I checked my pocket again, and there it was. I had never put it on. Now, while this is a funny story now, because I can sit back and laugh at it, because if there's one thing I've realized with a condition, have a sense of humor about it. Be funny about it. Do not take yourself too seriously, or it will depress the daylights out of you. So, you guys know me, I'll make a joke out of anything. So in this case, I do joke about my epilepsy a lot, just to get through the sort of things that happens. But even though it's funny now for me to sit back and laugh and think, well, that was kind of kooky, at the time, it's a very frightening situation that you find yourself in, especially if you know you have this condition, because then you go, I've got a time gap. That's the way I like to refer to them. A gap where I don't know what happened, and I thought something happened, and it didn't. And it's almost like one of those blackout moments that, this is the worst metaphor I could possibly come up with, but here we go. I've heard people talk about being so drunk that they don't remember what happened. That's the equivalent of what happens when I have these time gaps, where something happened, I don't know what it was, but now I'm here and I'm having to fill in that gap, and it's frightening. I don't know why anyone would drink so much that they would actually put themselves in that position on purpose, let alone having a condition like I do where I don't have a choice. I haven't put myself there. It just happens. So it's frightening as heck, but the great thing is that I am on medication and it does work. So I'll tell you one thing though. One thing that people constantly worry about someone having seizures, they're like, will they swallow their tongue? No, you will not swallow your tongue. Do not try to stick your fingers in someone's mouth. We will bite them off in the process. Trust me on this. Thankfully, I'm not speaking from experience, but I do know of a couple of cases where people's fingers have been bit off because someone thought they needed to stop it. Don't stick anything in their mouth or anything. Leave them and let them get through it and give them air. That's the best thing you can do. So, epilepsy. It's something that I'm incredibly passionate about. Anytime I find some sort of organization or something that deals in epilepsy, I always give it a plug on the podcast and stuff like that, because it's something I live with. And I don't think I've ever shared it as publicly on my podcast network or anything like that. I sort of mention it, but I don't put it out there because it feels like it's me putting a burden on you guys. But I thought for a vlog, especially considering what happened today, it sort of inspired me to go, I need to record a video about this and just sort of give my experience of having this problem, because the great part about this will be people will know they're not alone. The thing about an epileptic, you really cannot look at us and tell that we are epileptic until, obviously, the incident happens. And then you go, oh, they're having seizures, they must be epileptic. It's really not something that you even think about. I don't even think of mentioning it to most people because it's such a natural part of my life now that it just goes, and I just take it naturally as read and continue on with my life. So it's something that really doesn't burden me, although, like I said, when I have my fits, my brain doesn't work quite right, but I recover. But anyone out there that has epilepsy, you are not alone. And trust me, there are plenty of resources online for you to find and get support, get help. We are out there, trust me. Even though we may be an invisible disease, we do exist out there, and more of us than you may think. So definitely, if you know someone that's epileptic, or if you are epileptic yourself, just let them know, or now you know, that you're not alone. So I figured I'd share something a bit personal just to sort of show that I'm not afraid to share that sort of stuff. But anyway, that was my inspiration that I got today for a vlog. So there we are, got a bit personal, but I feel fine sharing that sort of thing with you. Some people don't, but hey, I'm an open book at this point. I'm a privacy advocate's worst nightmare, I really am. But anyway, if you guys want to find other vlogs that I'll be doing, you can go to tscn.tv/vlog and be able to find them there. And until next week when I vlog something else, I've got a feeling I know what I might vlog about, but I'm not setting anything in stone. So, epileptics, remember, you're not alone. And for everyone, I'll see you next time. This has been a production of the Samcast Network. tscn.tv. What's your passion?